toad fly. Begin setup on your vise with the bobbin with monofilament tied just above the point. And what we're going to start with, the first material to go onto the toad is marabou. This is the blood quill marabou. Tie it right above the hook point. Take several wraps. We're going to be adding a total of 3 pieces, all white, one on each lateral side and then one over the top, just to give it a nice full look, especially when it's wet and flowing through the water when you're stripping the fly. Marabou just looks great in the water, and it's a great material. I haven't found a material that I would substitute for the marabou in this particular case because of the soft look in the water and the full look that it has. Just keep moving around, make sure that you got both laterals covered nicely. And now add your third piece over the top. Turn it, twist it just to get it just right, and come right in over the top again at the hook point. A few more wraps. Move it around a little bit, get your scissors out and trim out that excess material. Now we're going to tie in a couple of one piece of about 6 or 7 strands of pearl flashabou. I tie this on the lateral on each fly, one piece, and move it over to the other side, and then just tie it off. A little bit of glitter and flash here at the tail of this fly is very important to get that impulse strike going on stripers and bluefish. It's a great fly for stripers. Bluefish just tear the heck out of it. The next material is crosscut yellow bunny. And this is just simply to make a collar, 3 or 4 turns of it, palmer it forward. Make sure the nap of the fur is facing to the back end of the hook, as you can see the hide there. And get your bobbin position properly out of the way. Make your first full turn, keeping the hide lined up edge to edge as you come forward. After the first couple of turns, bring your bobbin back to the point where you want to tie it off. Second turn. And a final turn, and then you bring the bobbin up underneath and get that locked down nice and tight. You need to cut off that excess material. And when you're working with this bunny fur, a good idea is to continuously wet it with a little bit of saliva, just to keep the static down and to keep it out of your wraps. It can be a pain to work with, but it just adds so much to the fly. The next item that we're going to tie in is a set of yellow and black lead eyes. This is the small size. Again, making the head of the fly is a good target for stripers, and the lead eyes work fine. Don't use heavier ones, otherwise you're going to end up basically tying a clouser, and it's probably not going to track well. Other materials that they use for eyes could be bead chain or the plastic nymph eyes. The idea is here, you want a set of eyes, but you don't want anything that's going to add appreciable amount of weight to this fly. So now we're going to tie in 6 consecutive pieces, 1.5 inch long of polypropylene yellow yarn. And we're going to use a bow tie type method to tie this material in. And it's going to take a bit of practice to get this material laying down properly over the hook shank and getting your wraps just right without getting completely frustrated doing this. And this is the first time I've tied this fly in a while, so as you can see I'm a little bit rusty getting the bow tie going. But you're going to do 6 of these consecutive all the way back up to the lead eyes. And again, you got to start with slow wraps, not too hard, not too tight, and you got to keep manipulating each side of the bow tie to get the bobbin over it and so forth to make it even and proper here. Now that we get that one, we'll tie in a third piece, a couple loose wraps. Again, another piece. And if you tie this on a smaller shank hook, you might want to go to fewer pieces of the material depending on how much hook shank you have to work with. You can tie this fly bigger and add more, but the idea of this is to kind of match the hatch for squid, and then sometimes I tie this in different colors with browns and olives to sometimes match a lobster hatch, because it really is a good crustacean all-around fly. And I will fish this deep or I'll fish this shallow depending again, on what part of the water column that the stripers are feeding. But it's a great fly to fish in river current, and I've also fished this just simply dead drifting it down current, and it works pretty darn well. That's it for the Polypro yarn. A couple of quick overhand turns, and with the monofilament thread it cinches down very nicely, so you don't necessarily need to have a whip finish. The next step is to, with your scissors or a comb, splay out the yarn on both sides so that you have individual strands almost. You don't want it clumped or tangled together because you want to have that full head look to it. And then simply trim each edge back on a radius a little bit shorter toward the head and fuller toward the middle of the head part of the fly, and then tapering it back. You got to keep turning the fly and trimming it so that it's even on both sides. Some guys use a coin on the top and just follow the radius with the scissors, but in any case you want it even on both sides. That's just about it, and good luck tying it. Just takes practice.